Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Unity Global Game Jam stream number 2. We're really excited for this stream today. We have Kirk from Unity, as well as some special guests, and we're going to be talking specifically about how to host a game jam site, best practices, what a site organizer does, and answer any questions that you may have about site organizing. I'm Jess. I'm the Global Game Jams Events and Program Manager, and we're just so excited to have you guys here today. First, I'm going to bring Kirk on the stage.
Whoa,
Hi, Kirk. Hi.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Jess. Long time no
Hi.
see.
I
How's it
know,
been?
it's been a while. It's been
It's like
great.
this is what happens in between streams. They just keep me in this room between streams, and then I never leave. And then I just wait until someone from the internet just like pings me, and then I'm ready to go. So
You just kind of like wake up. You're like, whoop, okay, I'm ready.
Jess is calling you right now. You need to be on the internet. Yeah, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, of
Really happy to
course.
be here. I cannot believe it's almost the end of December, and it's
It's
really
December 12th. You can't even say it's the end of December.
I know, but then you start hearing the Christmas songs and like
Yeah.
everyone's talking about spice latte, and I'm like, I just want to sleep and play Elden Ring cyclically until January, the end of the first week of January. I'm just kidding, y'all. I am so excited to kick off the stream because there's a lot of preparation to be done, even though we do have a month left, and that includes
Yes.
starting your jam site. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but before that, can I jump into the very pointed sponsor spot?
Sure.
Bing. Thanks. Yeah, and this is just a shout out to Global Game Jam as a whole, as an organization. Thank you so much for having us, Unity, sponsor Global Game Jam. Just a shout out to the whole world and to studios and other game companies out there. You should totally support Global Game Jam. It's a great initiative, and we have so many people in industry and out of industry who join the jam and really, get their foot in the door, start, or just have fun. But
Exactly.
yeah. Just a few shout outs from Unity. So this QR code, if you're watching and you're a student and you're thinking about hosting a jam site, good for you. That's a lot. And you should totally do that because it's a lot of fun. But if you're also going to jam with us, this QR code leads you to our Unity student plan page. If you're going to be jamming during Global Game Jam, we want to give you some free stuff. So sign up for your student plan. You'll be able to get these free 3D assets that are shown on the screen. We have awesome deals with some of our Unity asset publishers, including Odin, which is a very powerful tool when you're working on your game. If you're going to work on your game after the jam, the serializer and the inspector tools are just really powerful and really expensive for students. So please sign up for that. And then we're doing a learn along over at Unity Discussions. So if you're not hosting a site, but you're trying to prepare for the game jam and trying to figure out what engine you want to use, and you're trying to learn Unity, follow this QR code for this week and into early next week. On Unity Learn, we have our Rollerball tutorial learning project, which is our bread and butter tutorial that we bring people into. And for this week on Unity Discussions, you'll have me, you'll have developers watching the forum, and we're taking submissions for rollerball games and rollerball variants. And it's just a fun time to just jam while it's December and everything's slowing down, and it's a time for you to prepare for Global Game Jam. So yeah, I just wanted to shout these out, and thank you, Jess and Global Game Jam, for letting us do that.
Of course.
Yay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Segue the full screen. it's like we're breaking the third wall. Producer. Oh, cool. Nice. Okay. So maybe it's
Awesome.
time to bring in our guests.
Yeah, I think so. I hope that they're ready. I'm
Are they
ready
there?
for them.
Did you
Are
tell
they
them
there?
Did they stay in the room? So
They're
everybody,
just
they're just waiting.
departed already.
So let's go ahead and bring in Sebastian and Michael to the stream. Da-da-da.
Hi.
Da, 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 da.
Hi,
guys.
Hey, all.
How's it going? So maybe we could start off by Sebastian and Michael, if you'll want to introduce yourself, starting with Sebastian. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And Jess, if you want to share the screen, I have their sites that they
Awesome.
organize in the world. So yeah, Sebastian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi. My name is Sebastian, as Kirk already said. Kirk and Jess, thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure and really awesome, and I'm not nervous at all.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I'm a site organizer from Germany, and I've been doing the site in Koblenz since 2017 now, so it's kind of a habit. Yeah. Besides that, yeah, I founded a small software studio with a friend of mine because we like games, and that's why we also do game jams because we like to spread the love of making games with everybody in the area.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's only natural to do a global game jam site.
Sebastian, what's the name of the game?
The name of our game, the name of
Uh,
our last game is it's the most German game you can think of because it's a parking garage simulator, and the name is Parking World Build and Manage.
it's so good.
Um, yeah, it's we just released it to early access on 11th of November,
Mhm.
so you can all get it on Steam. If I'm allowed, I can just
Yeah, post it
put
in the
the
YouTube
link
chat.
down in the chat, and then
Yes. And hello to our YouTube chat. Oh, we totally forgot. Hello, Alana. Hello, Game Drink Code, Hypermiss, Jose Rodrigo, the Bull from Unity chat. Hello. Yeah, post the link
Blair.
to the game, and
Yeah.
everyone, please buy it off his Steam. Sebastian and his team
yeah,
worked really hard on it. So, all right. So, Michael, hello. Thank you for joining the stream. Hello, hello.
Hey, glad to be here and happy to share some tips. So I guess I'll run into introduction. So yeah, I'm Michael Lee. I'm been the site organizer for the Pittsburgh Global Game Jam since 2014. So we're like 10 years, over 10 years now, actually. And been participating with Global Game Jam almost since the start of it. I'm also um, the regional organizer for PA New York. So if people are starting up sites and you happen to be in the states of PA or Pennsylvania or New York, I will be the guy who reviews your sites and approves it and make sure things are running, helping make sure things are running smoothly.
Nice.
Uh, oh,
I
sorry,
want
go for it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I just wanted to say, who did your art for your poster? Because this is
Yeah.
a
Beautiful.
really sweet poster.
Oh, yeah. One of the fun things is because we're at the Pittsburgh site because we are a combined site with a bunch of universities and organizations. So in this case, we had a student from the Carnegie Mellon's Entertainment Technology Center, Marie. She
Nice.
did the art for this, and we try to like mix it up every year and have a different artist make our posters.
Yeah.
So we should actually like collect all of them and show and post them because that would have been really fun. But yeah, and then on top of helping run the Global Game Jam here in Pittsburgh, I have a day job, and my day job is also in video games. So
Nice.
previously, I was at Shell Games working on Among Us VR. So have the
Nice.
fun little dev
Cool.
shirt here, and then
Awesome.
actually pre recently about a month ago, I have moved on, and I am now at another Axiom where I'm working on a Gorilla Tag, so
Nice.
another VR game. So
Awesome. If you have any links, Michael, and you want to post it in YouTube chat, we'd totally appreciate it. Awesome. Well, we should get into the meat of the conversation. Jess, do you want to like kick it off and kind of talk about what we're chatting about today?
Yeah, sure. So, this is a live stream that is dedicated towards talking about site organization. And site organization, kind of as an overview, the site organizer is the person who makes sure that there is a place to go and an atmosphere that's fun for people to go to jam. And they get sponsors, they collect food, they secure spaces, they make sure that there's security, they set everything up for you if you're going to be going to a jam in person. And they are crucial to the global game jam because if it weren't for the site organizers, we wouldn't have these local sites. They would just be, it would be all virtual, which is absolutely fine. We've done virtual in the past, and we still are doing virtual game jams, which there are virtual site organizers as well.
Mhm.
But the bread and butter of Global Game Jam is just getting together in that one space and getting together with your local community and creating games together. And the site
Yeah.
organizers are there to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So it's not an easy job. It takes a lot of coordination, a lot of preparation, but it is so crucial. And we're so thankful for everybody who does site organizing for Global Game Jam all over the world.
Yeah, yeah, and I just wanted to echo that. Like, it's so important for like every region to have their own space, and I think this is a good segue into the first question, which is, and Michael, you can kick it off. Like, tell us a little bit more about, like you said, you're in New York, Pennsylvania. Uh, what do global game jam sites mean to your area, and why are they? Why is it so important to organize one of these sites?
Yeah, so, I think one of the big things, as just mentioned, is like with global game jam sites, you're sort of giving a chance for a community or an organization in a region or a city or even like a school to like come together and like, hey, let's do something really cool over a weekend in January. In our case, because we're in PA, New York, or wintry, often a very wintry weekend. So it's not like you're going to do anything better outside. So, but yeah, so oftentimes with sites, and especially now that I'm a regional organizer, I see a bunch of different things come through. We have things as big as an entire city. Like in Pittsburgh's case, we bring together like multiple organizations to have like one jam where we have like close to like 175 to 200 people.
Mhm.
But we have plenty of sites on the smaller side. So we have sites that are, individual universities. We've had high schools participate, like the Game Developers Club at a high school or a college. We've even had sites as small as like like uh, in past years, we've just had a person's like, hey, I just want to start up my own site. And it's like, and invite my friends. It's like, that's totally fine. It's like, sometimes it's useful to see what's nearby. So, because there's some work into organizing a site, but we definitely want to encourage as many people to become site organizers to help support their communities wherever they may be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And before we go to Sebastian, just wanted to shout out the YouTube chat. Hello, Too Much Tomato. Hello, Meet Romani and Namaste Geek. If you could like chime in chat and tell us where you're coming from, and if you're thinking about organizing a site, would love to know that so we could shout out some answers like while we're streaming. Sebastian, posing the same question to you, like, why is it so important to organize a site in your part of Germany? What do you see in your community, and like what are you supporting over there? What do you see in your on the ground?
I think it's a very different situation right here because I started organizing a site because I was looking for jam sites around where I lived in that time because I lived in Koblenz back then, and there was just nothing. So the next site would be an hour to an hour and a half drive, and I was lazy. So I looked into what it would actually take to be a site organizer, and maybe I was not aware of all the what's behind that back then. But over the years, I learned it's how important it is to have a site, to be a site organizer in this area, because you can just the community here, you are sort of a hub that brings together the community, that creates the community of developers, because there are a lot of people at the university in Koblenz who like to develop games, board games, card games, computer games, everything, and they sometimes are loosely coordinated, but there's nothing for the whole area. So creating a jam site with the Global Game Jam was awesome to see how many people react to it and come again year after year. We have a few people that were there in 2017 for the first site that are still coming today.
Nice.
That's awesome.
This year,
That's
next year.
really cool. That's really cool.
And it's just a great now I'm missing the word, incubator for the developer community in this area.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And I super agree with both of you in terms of like, especially that last point, Sebastian, where you're like, First off, laziness is the driver of a lot of good human behavior. So awesome for past Sebastian to think about global
That'll be a
game
good
jam.
clip.
Then I'll get the but also like I could totally, well, not me personally, I experienced someone's wanting to build a global game jam site because my first global game jam site was in the United States in Richmond, Virginia. Shout outs to RVA Game Jams. And I hope I don't think the founder will mind me telling the story, but Will Blanton, the organizer for Virginia, he also did not have anyone to jam with. And his best friend was like, we need to find people to jam with you. And that was the spurring of like the mid-Atlantic jam kind of culture in Virginia. And it's really interesting to think about the people that started with Global Game Jam like in the 2010s, because now we're all in industry, we've gotten older, we've seen so many new people come in and out, and it's just like a nice cultural hub starter. Like it's really impactful in the places we be, to the point where like I think a good chunk of the people in my Global Game Jam, my first one, they like went to my wedding when it all happened, and we were all like, you know, we're all older and we've gone through industry, and like those people that you meet at your first Global Game Jam, you just never know what type of friends you'll make, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one of the best parts is just all of the people that you are connected to that you now know you have this special interest with them too, where sometimes it can be really hard to connect with people if you can't figure out that common ground and you already know that you like video games. You can kind of just, it fast tracks you to be best friends. And it's great to have people who come back year after year after year, because it just shows the gravity of what an amazing site you have, and the experience that people get out of it, because then those people will tell other people, and it just can only continue to grow because they'll just want to spread the good word about what it's like to be at your site. And maybe they'll want to go and make their own sites too, and that's awesome and totally okay and very much encouraged. But it's also cool to have it's like a reunion every year too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wait, someone was speaking up. Who's jumping in?
Yeah, that's what Jess just said. The reunion every year. It's so nice to arrive at the location and to have the same like core group of around 10, 12 people all meet up, and a few of them I only see once a year. And it's just awesome to have that kind of reunion. Yeah, I really look forward to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at a YouTube chat real quick because we got some really awesome locations. We have someone in Istanbul who is going to be organizing a site. So shout out to Serdar Savas. I hope I said your name right. Jackie Davis in North Texas at the University of North Texas. I hope you organize your site as well. Too Much Tomato, just a spoiler for the crowd. He is I am not only at Unity, I am also a co-founder of a collective in North Carolina called Triangle Interactive Arts Collective, and it sounds like we're going to be organizing this year in North Carolina. So please come through for barbecue if you'd like. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
And then we have someone from France. So hello to Blair. Good to have you in here. So. But yeah,
great. And they're looking to do a global game jam next one, which is also a little bit of a plug if folks don't know what Global Game Jam Next is.
Yeah, what's that?
Global Game Jam Next is dedicated specifically for youth creators. So it's for ages 12 to 17. They're usually a separate site, but yeah, I love that process because there are so many kids that wanted to get into video game design, but there's not a ton of resources that aren't just, take a class, go to college, and stuff that is online is not as accessible for like a 12-year-old. So it's a great environment for them to meet people who are the same age as them. They could be like, oh my God, you love to make video games too. And they can make a really cute game on Scratch or something. And I think it's a really wonderful resource. We're seeing a lot more Global Game Jam Next sites popping up. So
that's
if
awesome.
that's something that applies to you, or if you have a kid, definitely keep an eye on those sites for sure.
Or if we want to support breaking the third wall, Alana, you hear this? We have to support Global Game Jam Next. Yeah. Also, And I could do that because it's our stream. Also,
We could do whatever we want.
we do what we want. Mojtaba, I hope I said your name right. Groningen. Where is Groningen in? I'm gonna Google
Yeah.
where this country is while we Jess, if you want to like line up the next question.
Yeah,
And-
sure.
Oh, in the Netherlands. Hello.
Very
yes.
cool.
That would be
We'll do a whole different stream on Global Game Jam next too.
nice. That'd be awesome. I'd love to be part of it.
So I guess, yeah, I'll start with Michael. If you want to answer, what would you say makes a great game jam site as a site organizer?
What's your favorite game jam site food?
So it's a two-parter, and I know you weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you only answer the latter, I guess.
We can have a debate about best game jam food and why it shouldn't be pizza because your friend.
Oh, yeah.
It's always pizza.
Is it?
No,
I don't know.
Let's hear it.
as an organizer, you think I'd be sick of pizza? I'm not actually sick of pizza.
But then Grace
it
gets on your
definitely-
keys, and then you like.
It is-
type in the- That's good.
It is not an ideal global game jam food. Actually, so one of the things we really like is at our site, because we encourage people to come in, to leave at the end of the not stay. We're not a 24-hour site, so we want people to come in the morning. So we have on Saturdays and Sundays we do like donuts and coffee, and those are. There's nothing better than it's like 7:30 a.m. and it's like you have a big cup of coffee and a giant donut, and it's like, cool, I'm ready to like attack whatever game jam project I'm on. But sorry, the first question,
See?
the important one. Yeah,
The
we got caught up in talking about food.
It's good.
So other than food, what makes a great game jam site?
So, having run the Pittsburgh site, I think what makes a great global game jam site is, one, finding a space where people can work and collaborate. So we've had like a lot of like a good. It doesn't need to be like a space in terms of like it needs to be cool or new. It just needs to be a place where people can, what we really like is having an open space so people can form groups, and then they're free to like set up how they want. But also sometimes people want to have like a little quiet time, especially if you're like really working hard intensely on a problem, or if you're an audio person, you might need like your own little space. And so having a space that's large enough to accommodate people, working in teams, but also having room to themselves, I think is really important.
Nice.
The other thing I will say, so that's like the venue, but the as an organizer, what I have found really useful is like being available to help people out, right? So especially with the global game jam, you're going to have a mix of veterans and newcomers, and what we've seen, especially with once you get into the jam, things roll pretty quickly. But I think what's really important is like that kickoff moment. It's like,
Oh yeah.
we start the jam, we introduce the theme, we talk about what's going to happen over the weekend, and especially for newcomers, they're like, okay, cool, now what? And so what we do at Pittsburgh, and that has worked really well, it's like we say, hey, if you're new to jamming or just new to Global Game Jam, immediately at the start, let's all come together. Let's see how we can help each other out. A lot of people come without teams even, and it's like, okay, let's try to align people together into teams that make sense, right? So programmers and artists and audio people and designers and writers, let's see if we can match people up, sort of do like a quick like team speed dating, so to speak. And we found that has been really good, along with like doing small icebreakers just to get people started.
Nice. And jumping off of that, in RVA Game Jams, when I was organizing with them, we actually had people fill out cards prior to the kickoff, and then the questions were, are you a beginner? Are you right in the middle, or would you like to lead a team? So like always like a very like pointed ask right there to see if anyone will lead. And then the second one is name all the skills that you have. So like programmer, artist, PM, masseuse, there should be a masseuse at every Global Game Jam site. And then I forgot what the third question was, but it's really important, like you said, Michael, like being able to take away the overhead of organizing the teams even is like it's super clutch, because you get people to make teams with people that they've never met before, which is kind of scary but also exciting if you really foster that space. And then B, what we found when we asked those two questions is that the people who are most likely to lead spur up more quickly, and then that makes it easier for us to like see how many team leads there are, and then like put in the programmer audio. I'm not going to say masseuse again, but I said it. So I think that's a really good point. Sebastian, how about you? Sorry, I'm thinking about everything for Global Game Jam. All right, no stone unturned.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what makes for a great site organizers. You think about the things that you wouldn't necessarily think
That's
to
true.
include,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So Sebastian, how many masseuses do you have in Germany?
At least 4.
At least 4.
Wow, at least. Everyone's so multi-talented.
Our site is not that big, so probably the whole crowd is not that big that there's the chance that there are 4 masseuses around. But one of my favorite game jam foods is sushi, just because it got sort of tradition with my brother-in-law, who is at our jam site every year for, I think, since 2017. And every year on the Saturday, we just go to the next supermarket, buy a ton of cheap sushi. We never got sick before, so it always.
Knock on wood. It's worked every year.
And we buy too much of it, and then just have the sushi evening. But directly following is pizza, because pizza is just it's pizza. It always works. And but what makes a great jam site? I think it's a great jam site is where the people are comfortable. So they don't feel like I can't talk to the other people in the room. They just can comfortably go to another group and maybe ask for help or join them, and that's what, for me as a site organizer, I try to make it as comfortable as possible while still having enough rules that everybody feels safe. So that people can just get into their flow and work on their games and work together. We also try to encourage everybody to just mix up their groups. Since we have the site for like forever now, we do have a few groups that come every year and tend to stay together, but we try with some group building games to get them to switch around. And like you mentioned, Kirk, we also have like badges for the people, but we don't leave them so many options to put in there, because when you say please list all your skills, some people just have like 3 pages of skills, and
they just print out their resume and like tape it to their shirt.
And what we did is we have little badges with 2 slots, 2 little white spots on them, and then you can take 2 stickers. You can be programmer, audio, graphics, designer in terms of game design, or I think we have 5 or 6 stickers, and you can choose 2 to put on your badge.
Nice.
Just to have to get the people to think about what are my 2 best skills that I can put into this, and then we try to mix the groups up so that they match, so that you don't have like 5 programmers and no artist.
That's true. Yeah. Or I was in 7 artists, 2 programmers. That was very interesting.
That can also be very cool.
Yeah, that could also be very cool.
Or just writers.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, there's plenty of great stuff on Twine. So,
so just I wanted to check out YouTube chat real quick. So Garlic Suitor, hello Garlic Suitor. That's one of our educators from the Unity education community, saying people being comfortable means they aren't fighting their instinctual fight, flight, freeze, which kills creativity and joy. Good call.
Yes.
So Shout outs
Yeah.
to Sebastian there. And then Too Much Tomato saying the hardest part for me is getting people into teams. And Too Much Tomato has a question. Would love to hear more about the team forming games that you all run, or like Sebastian, can you talk a little bit more about so it's the two roles, like what other things can kind of loosen, just break the ice. And also Jose says sushi game jam food is from a pro game jam. It's other level of game jam site. So just wanna
Cheap sushi.
cheap sushi.
It's supermarket sushi. It's not that well that they raised the prices, so we can just order from some sushi place for
Inflation,
the same price now.
why?
It is about the act of getting in your car, driving to the next supermarket, buying cheap sushi, and coming back with it. It's not about the sushi. It's about about doing it. But now I forgot the question.
The question is too much
team building.
Team building games. Yeah.
What we tried last year, what worked really well, was we marked different spots in the room on the carpet with tape, and then we told the people, go choose one of these areas, and when everybody has chosen an area, please start discussing the theme and come up with ideas. And every 5 minutes, one of the group has to go to another group and then switch them around so that the groups get mixed and people hear every idea in the room. And that helped with mixing up the groups that came as a pre-made group to the site. Other than that, I would have to look into my notes from last year, so I don't really remember what else we did.
Yeah, for sure. How about Michael? What do y'all do in your sites to kind of break the ice, do some team building exercises? What do y'all do?
Yeah, so the getting people to move physically around is a great idea, Sebastian. We should probably steal that this year. But we have done some simpler things. So, obviously, as we mentioned, people get and sort of less what disciplines they generally fall into. But the other thing we've done is once everyone gets into this big group, is we go and quickly just name your favorite game, right? And that we feel that's a fun way to sort of share oh, this is the kind of game I like. And then one year, recently we switched it up by not just not what's your favorite game, but what kind of game would you like to make, right? And that gives some insight. So people often say, I want to make a visual novel, or I want to do a music game, or I want to do an action game. That doesn't always follow through with the actual game that they'll make, because teams and creativity, but it gives a good starting point, and it helps start conversations where people are like, oh yeah, this guy, he said he wants to make a visual novel. I also want to work on a visual novel, or I want to work in Ren'Py or something like that. And we found that has been pretty successful.
Nice. Yeah, and that is to say too, sorry, just one thing, Jess, which is people can switch teams, so encouraging that cross pollination. I know in other game jams, people started with their initial team, but then you got a chance to just walk around and hear each other's pitch, and then you can come in and oh, I can contribute to that one, or oh, I did a text, I did a text adventure last year. I want to do this different theme this year, right? I think that last exercise is really good, because then if you allow people to walk around the room and hear the different ideas, then they'll get a sense of what they're most excited about, and feel like they have agency during the site or during the game jam. So
yeah, I mean, it's a lot about that
something?
community.
Sorry.
Sorry. It's just, I mean, a lot of it is just about that connection, and I know it sounds so classic, but just having vibe checks too is just great. And if you're up and walking around and just talking to people, and this is probably just from my improv background, but just light improv games to just get everybody comfortable, I think is also really an interesting way to start before you force everybody to go into their own groups, because it gets everybody just on like kind of the same energy and the same feel and really excited. And there's plenty of really easy improv games that you can play. And it may feel silly, but that's kind of the point. And then you can take the opportunity to go, like, hey, we seem to really get along. I think you're really funny, or like, I like the things that you said. And then what kind of games do you like? That kind of stuff can also be really helpful if you're, especially if you're going to a jam site where it seems like everybody already knows each other too, and you're like new to it, to bring everybody on the same page. Because I know what it feels like to be like the new person in an atmosphere, and that can be really hard to navigate, especially if you are maybe a little bit socially nervous or you're just a little awkward, and awkward is totally okay. I'm incredibly awkward. I lean into it most of the time. And just, I think that that's like a great way to figure out the people that you know that you'll really want to be spending the next 48 hours with. Because, it's that like initial feeling, that like gut check feeling too.
Absolutely. Can I share my screen again, or my screen just to?
Yeah, you're good.
I found something, and I think this is really helpful, just to nail the point across. Share screen one. So I'm in the Pittsburgh Global Game Jam page that Michael organized last year, and I would like to say for all the site organizers as well. I mean, aside from it being written on the organization or in the description, you will say if you have food in the vicinity and if you have pizza. And I think Global Game Jams should have their own sushi symbol over here. But also, like, just to say, like, a lot of
Note taken.
Like, if you're a site organizer, a lot of these points that we're talking about, food, like a space, auditorium space. I don't know if you remember this, Michael, but like you noted that there was an auditorium space that, you can market if it's completely not smoking or not. Like, those are really important for your site, because like what Garlic Suitor said earlier, it's kind of just like setting up a space so comfortable that you don't want to, because it could be an anxiety driving event. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And just like to your point, like my first couple of global game jams, well, I finished my first game, but I didn't finish the next two. And it was because I was so nervous, and like it wasn't to the site organizers. It's just, but there were points where it made me feel more comfortable with like coffee in the morning or meeting up with my team, like through like the icebreaker. So yeah. Those are all really good points. Staying on the site, I just wanted to segue over to like how to prepare your site. So to everyone watching and to the VOD. So just a note too, if you're watching, thank you. You can get all this data or all this information. Also, after the fact, this is going to be a VOD on YouTube and to the future. So if all the guests wants to wave to the camera and say hi to your future self, or
hi to the future.
Say hi to the future. If you're watching this as well, thank you so much. So if you want to host your site, last week we lightly touched on hosting a site and participating in a jam. Just confirm or deny, both links are now live, and you can sign up as a participant and a host, right?
Yes. So host jam sites have been open since the beginning of November, and we are still processing jam sites. Participation in jams, if you want to be a jammer, definitely check that out. And I want to reiterate, don't be discouraged if you don't see a jam site that is immediately close to you. We are still very much processing sites, so just keep checking back to find one that is more local to your area. And if you don't see one, that's when you should host a site.
Yeah. So to what Jess alluded, so before you join, or if you want to host and you don't know if there's a site, just go to the locations tab. I'm gonna open it in a new tab, and you'll be able to search all the locations for 2020. I don't know what I just said just now. 2012. I'm just mashing words together to. Also, so you'll be able to sort by country, sort by type. So I know we said that we all like really, really love the in-person experience, but if you are one of those people who can't make it to a site, you'll also be able to find a virtual one. And so you can go through this, find your site. Also, you can find it by history, which is pretty cool. So if you remember, like you were in Virginia in 2014, you can go back, I guess. Uh, so if you're starting to host a new site and you click on host a jam site here, first, if you don't have an account, please make an account through Global Game Jam. Before we got on stream, I was really confused because I had to set my password up, which I hadn't been on the Global Game Jam website in a while. But after you set up your account and they confirm your information, you'll be greeted by this form. Jess, Sebastian, Michael, y'all probably have way more experience on this, but just you could speak after. Just add like any notes that I might miss. But this is all the stuff that will pop up when you post your Game Jam site. So setting up location. Oh my gosh, too many tabs. It's like we're at work here. Location. Basic information. So to type your audience. Oh, look at that. Global Game Jam Next is an audience.
Yeah.
There you go. If you have a photo, and this is one of the cool things is like I asked the guests for photo, they didn't have any. It's okay. But like seeing like photos from past Global Game Jams and seeing like the passage of time is super cool. So always sharing like a group photo of like your last site is really good. Yeah, there's just so much that you could do to customize your site. So I guess the question to Sebastian and Michael, either y'all could start. Like how do you prepare for the site? Aside from filling out this form, can you talk about a little bit about like maybe how your group meets? How big is the group that helps you organize? Is it just yourself? And what's your experience in like preparing for the site, like logistically and formally?
Yeah, I can start out, Sebastian. So we co-organize with CMU, so Carnegie Mellon University, which is one of the local, um, college, university institutions here, along with Pittsburgh and Chatham and a few other universities. So I help. So we have another organizer on the CMU side, Tom Corbett, who's a faculty member at the ID8 program there. So that, along with that, we have a team of volunteers. So a lot of times like students, but we've had like other industry people here who help volunteer and help run it. And I think the big thing with beforehand is we've been lucky enough to stick in the same space for a few years, so we have some familiarity. But anytime you go to a venue, you want to go, even if you've been there, you want to go back and you want to just run through and make sure, okay, has everything the same? Is like the parking, the situation the same? Is the food options the same? Is the accessibility, all of that? Like even really simple things like I know like when I started first running, you forget like, oh yeah, people doing game jams, they bring computers. Computers need a lot of power.
Right.
And the first time I ran a game jam, which was not at a university site, it was at a different site, we definitely blew out the circuit because
Oh no.
too many computers attached to the same,
Oh
to the same circuit.
no.
So, stuff like that. So we like going through that prep list and making sure like, okay, everything's in order. And so when you're coming in and you're starting the jam, you're not like sort of scrambling around. It's like, oh no, people don't know where to park. People don't know where to set up their computers.
Right.
That really helps out a lot.
Nice. Sebastian, how about you? How's planning for you looking like?
It's mostly the same. Usually around it's mostly October when I remember, hey, there's Game Jam coming up, and then I look up when the site registration will open, and that's when we usually start to go into planning mode. It's me and usually 3 or 4 other people that are also on the site organizing team for our site. Even if it is a smaller site, we have like 5 people as site organizers. And we start to just plan ahead. What we usually do is to try to get local organizations or companies to maybe sponsor something. Not that we want to have like big like posters on the wall for a company, but just tell them, hey, we are doing something with the local developer company. We want to support people who want to make games, and do you want to step in, do something? Maybe if you have people that are interested in game development, get them to us, have them do a talk or something. And we also have the luxury that we are, besides 2017, we have always been in the same location.
Mhm.
So usually the game jam ends with "see you next year," and as soon as I see when the site registration is open, then I just send them an email and I say, hey, yeah, we're coming back on this and that date,
Mhm.
and then everything is set. But we usually we do a quick check, is everything in order? And we have the really nice luxury that Jens, my colleague, the co-founder of our company,
Mhm.
is an event technician.
Ah.
So he knows all the rules and regulations, how and with how many people you can do an event, what you need if you do that, and all the, because we're in Germany, everything is done with laws here.
Right.
He knows everything, and we can be sure that everything is safe and
Yeah.
sound, and we can have a nice jam. And then we usually just plan and try to get sponsors and people to support us and do a little bit of something like marketing, try to get the word out that there is a jam site in Koblenz, write to all the usual suspects and get them to spread the word.
Mhm.
And then we meet at the location and have fun for a weekend.
There we go. There we go. I want to shout out, thinking about like when you're talking about locations, one trend I've been seeing, and I wouldn't encourage like all site organizers to go all out like this, but people have been like renting cottages and like they're like, you know, doing just like
lot.
a site, a site where like it's not like maybe a building, or it's not, you know, an office space. It's usually that's like the traditional. It's usually like a co-working space or a school. But I've seen some really creative global game jam sites where it's like at a campsite, or, you know, let's just go out and hike and then make a game or something. Like you can also get
Yes.
really creative with the game jam site, and maybe that's a challenge for the future. If you're viewing this and you
Yeah.
happen to do a site, comment on the YouTube channel what's either the most creative or the weirdest place that you've game jammed before, and then
That would be such a fun diversifier.
Hey, that's a good one. Yeah.
I mean, I would love to do
Diversifiers
that.
are
And
awesome.
I know that I know that it can be tough to find those site locations, that it can accommodate as many people, and having, you know, an Airbnb is a financial lift that a lot of people
Yeah.
might not be able to take advantage of. But if you can, it would be so awesome. I mean, there's
Yeah.
plenty of like castles you can rent on Airbnb. Can you imagine
Yeah.
having like a game dev castle where you
Someone just chimed in on YouTube chat. Vicky said, "I game jammed in a castle in Sweden."
Wow.
So that is awesome. Also, Mags and Game Drink Code pointing out a very famous, and I think it's the coolest site thus far that's like super creative. So shout out to Adriel Wallach. So hello, Adriel, wherever you are. Adriel used to be the organizer, or I hope still is, for Train Jam. So not exactly global game jam, but you jam from Chicago to San Francisco
Oh, on
your
the
way-
Zephyr?
yeah, on the way to Game Developers Conference. And
Very cool.
you know, what I've heard is that like Amtrak is really really cool in terms of working with Train Jam. They also did a writers kind of like, what is it? Not a collective, but they basically took a train of poets and like rode them around the country for a year. and
That's
that was
awesome.
yeah. So maybe
I mean,
just
I've
like yeah.
I've taken that train before, and
Mhm.
it's a really cool experience. Also, I happen to be reading a book that's specifically about a train ride writers conference. So
Oh,
that's
really?
so crazy.
That's very
Yeah,
Train of
specific.
thoughts.
it's very specific. Like the most specific.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
really good. It's by Benjamin Stevenson. Little shout out to him.
there we go.
But I think doing that train jam would be so awesome because you can they're comfy enough that you can sleep in
Yeah.
them and you can hang out. You get dinners and
Yeah.
if anyone can, if they still do it, I would highly recommend. Even though I've never done it, I would just highly recommend you take advantage of that experience because going across the country in a train is just there's like some true romanticism about it.
Yeah. Also, taking this time to not to. This is a really weird segue to very like, oh my god, let's be on the train and game jam. I'm actually one other place to look at for jam sites. If there is time for some of the organizers out there, work with a local like games festival or like another organization. So for me in late January, I'll be sponsoring a global game jam site for MagFest in Washington D.C. If people are not familiar with that and would like to go, Music and Games Festival at the National Harbor is the last weekend of January. And the cool part about MagFest is 22,000 people. So there's going to be a ton of people coming through. And they have maker spaces. So you could make cosplay costumes. You could like wire up robots. I forgot the type of classes that they have at the maker spaces. But one of the classes is going to be how to make your game in an hour for Global Game Jam. So yeah, I'm really excited about doing that with MagFest. And shout outs to MagFest for having us as well. But yeah, there's just so many there's so much opportunity for just jamming in a cool space. It's not just like jamming with the people, it's like getting inspired while you're at the site, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh man, let's look at unfortunately MagFest this year over the last week. Okay, Game Drink Code has a good point, but you will still be able to jam while you're there if you'd like.
True.
Mags,
And there
go ahead.
also is while the game jam typically happens on that weekend, there are sites that do elect to have them that 48-hour span between the 20th and the 26th. So you're not limited. Most of them do the weekends just because that's the nature
Yeah.
of the jam. But if you find a site that's near you that you can take off Monday, Tuesday, and be able to jam during that time, and then you can still go to MagFest. So there's definitely options. It would take a
Yeah.
little bit more logistics and coordinating, but
Yeah, just to clarify for Game Drink Code in chat, there is a tool at Unity. It's called Struct. You make a game in your browser, and it's drag and drop. And the challenge is you make a game in an hour. And I'm gonna have hats of like pick your theme and then pick your mechanic, and then there's one more hat. I'm trying to figure out what the third hat is. And with those prompts, you sit down at a laptop in between your MagFest, and you just make a game. So
love that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
we have a question for for Sebastian and Michael. So Mags asked, this is a really good question. How do site organizers like set expectation for the jammers, especially like the outcome of the game, right? So, going back to what Garlic Suitor said, there is like a lot of pressure sometimes, and it could be a little bit scary to do your first game jam. And how do you deal with like the expectation of people making like a full polished game at your global game jam as a site organizer? How do you organize for that?
Also, hi Maggie. I know Maggie.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
She's one of our organizers for Triangle. That's so cool.
It's such a small world.
Very small world. But yeah, Michael, Sebastian, how do you solve for that as an organizer?
Well, managing expectations is a big problem, especially with people that are new to game jams. They often set out to build the next AAA massively multiplayer online open world game, and it is a really sensitive topic because we have to give them a little bit of context what they can achieve in the duration of the game jam without just telling them no, you can't do that, because that just kills the motivation. But it also is not good for the motivation if they set out for a really great big game and they see that they can never achieve this. What we usually do is just tell them that not finishing your game is also very valid for the game jam.
Mm-hmm.
So that you just focus on something that you want to achieve in the time span that you are here, and then try to get to that. And if you have time, get the next goal.
Yep.
If your vision is big, then try to go little by little goal and see where you end out after the game jam.
Yeah. Michael, how about you as an organizer? How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, it's pretty common, as Sebastian said, for people to come in. It's like, especially if they're new, it's like, oh, I have this grand idea that has like a billion mechanics, and a ton it needs art and voice acting and music and all this stuff. And we always tell people, it's like, focus on one thing, right? It's like one mechanic, one idea, one story, and try to make that happen in the weekend. And what I like to say is, like, Global Game Jam and all game jams in particular, it's like a first step, right? It's a chance to, like, hey, you only have 48 hours, and so let's try an idea out. And if it fails, as long as you have something playable, that's success, because you had an idea and you tried it and it didn't work, and that's valuable information to learn.
Yep.
If it works and it's really cool, that's even better. But either way, it's like just having something playable is the goal at the end. Whether that's good or not, I mean, I've been part of many game jams where it's like you have an idea and you make a game and it's not great, but you had a lot of fun building it. You learned something, you met some cool people, and that to me is a valuable weekend.
Yeah,
Definitely. And there's been so many games that have actually had success after being created from a global game jam. So it's maybe better to just kind of contextualize it as a prototype. Like it's you have like a really great idea, and if you have people that you want to keep working on it with, that's fantastic. I mean, Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Like,
yeah, that's right.
That came out of a global game jam, and I think that's incredible because that game, I mean, it's been very successful. So it's easy to get discouraged if you're not coming out of it with a like, oh, this is the next Elden Ring, but you have the ideas and the concepts for what could be a really great game too.
Yeah.
And you met people to make it with. You might have just been like, I have had this idea forever, but I don't know anyone who wants to make it with me. And now all of a sudden you have
a whole team.
A group of people. Yeah.
I'm going to shout out. So everyone was mentioning Train Jam. I think I said this in the last stream, and it is also an Adriel Wallach quote. But so Adriel did a game a week for a year and spoke about game jams after her experience. And the one takeaway from that talk, you can find it online. I think it was like an NYU talk. And Adriel was saying, you don't solve any design problems during a game jam. You might, but it's very shallow and you're not producing your game, right? This is literally 2 days of just working on a mechanic. So as site organizers as well, this is, great for you because after you do global game jam, this is a potential to do like production jam maybe, or like encourage people to, further just like explore their game. And Mags, just to probably neatly tie a bow and answer your question, it's like, what everyone said on this panel explicitly saying like, hey, this is, a game jam. It's gonna be so much fun. You're gonna meet a ton of people. But remember, you only have 2 days. It's probably gonna be like one mechanic. And like the common saying, and Michael, Sebastian, Jess, you could confirm, it's like, you have an idea, cut it in half. Oh, you cut it in half already? Cut it in half again, right? And everyone always says that. But furthermore, that last part, which is like, we're not really like producing a game right now, and you're probably going to solve like maybe one design problem. And that's just a way to encourage someone after the jam to be like, hey, do you want to meet up with all these people again? Let's do another jam, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the main word to keep bringing up multiple times is just scope.
Scope it.
cut until you can cut no more, and then cut again.
Yeah. Exactly.
How many producers can y'all recruit before your game jam? Right? Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so I think we're like coming up at the like top of our hour. Sebastian, Michael, do you have any like final wise words for site organizers out there, and like something they can probably take away from if like they didn't glaze over from the past hour? If there's one thing they took, if they didn't take anything away from like what would you be your main takeaway from the? This was a fun stream. No one glazed over. I promise. But
I'd say as a site organizer, it's really easy to get caught up in running the event.
Mm.
I don't. Yeah, I would say like take time to just go around and see what people are working on and play their games and give feedback and that sort of thing. You know, I'm not as ambitious as some site organizers, or some of them they participate in the jam at the same time while running it. But once the jam gets started, I think if you've done your job, it sort of helps run itself until the end, and you should enjoy it. It should be fun organizing as much as it is jamming.
Nice. That's really good advice.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. It should be, even for the site organizer, it should be a weekend of fun. Even if you can't actually be part of a team, I usually try to at least do something for a group. But even if you don't have the time to actually participate in creating a game, try to have fun, try to look around, talk to the people, play their games, maybe just hop around and help them.
Yeah, be the ultimate playtester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aw. Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice, Michael, Sebastian, because I think like organizing any event, it feels like a blur, right? And being able to pause during the jam and just like seeing what people make, or like just taking it in, like you've done it, you've organized the jam is a really big undertaking, but also a big accomplishment. So being able to pause like during is important to just like take it in. So Jess, how about you? What would be like? And you're the events / program manager. You're the person. Like, what as an events person? Like, any advice for site organizers out there?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I could go in a lot about it, or at least
All right,
what my
in our
preferences
second hour.
would be. I mean, I think everybody here has had really great advice. I think the most important part for me is just like comfortability. I think it was Sebastian who mentioned earlier, having these separate spaces that you can be able to work in. I guess I would call them kind of almost like a sensory room too, is just like it can be really overwhelming at the same time, because depending on how many people are there, there's a lot of hustle and bustle. You're meeting a lot of new people. It's exhausting. And just having places where people can decompress or take breaks, I think that would be super duper important, where it's, emphasize that you're taking a break from actually creating the game and just like recentering yourself so you can feel like you're putting your best self out there, whether it's like a nap room or a couch or just a place where you can go take the piece of pizza and eat it by yourself in a room.
Take that
totally
sushi
fine.
Go for it.
Because I mean, we all know that there's so many different personality types that come into just the video game industry, and especially if you're brand new to it, I'm sure that this can be incredibly overwhelming. And even if you've been doing this for a ton of years, it can also be a really overwhelming experience. And so as a site organizer, being compassionate, being thoughtful, and checking in with your jammers, and just seeing how their experience is, making sure they're having a great time. If they're not having a great time, taking that feedback and figuring out how to, if you can't fix it right then and there, think about it for the next year. But just being in touch with the people who are there and making sure that they're accommodated as best as you possibly can. Nice. It'll just make a more impactful experience for everybody, and they'll remember it better rather than, oh, I went to this jam site and it was a mess and nobody seemed to be talking to each other. And I mean, I'm almost creating just like a very idealistic version. And I guess maybe another thing is don't be afraid of little amounts of failure.
Oh yeah.
And don't let the setbacks really like disrupt your entire time. Because things probably will not go 100% the way that you think that they're going to go, and that's okay. It's just being flexible and figuring out how to bend. I mean, I've had that approach with conventions that I've gone to where you set up your booth and something isn't really working. You just iterate and figure something new out, and just being flexible.
Yeah. Michael, were you the one who said like the electricity went out when y'all were
Yeah.
trying to... Yeah.
Yeah, we've had. I mean, you'll always be beset by little things or big things. Like again, we're in the Northeast here, so it's not uncommon to have a snowstorm on a weekend in January. And
Yeah.
sometimes you roll with it. We had a year where it snowed a lot, and so one of the days it became an impromptu work remotely day because it wasn't safe for people to come in. But yeah, be flexible, roll with the punches, and then have a good time.
Nice. Sebastian,
I-
how about
I think-
you? Like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut everyone off. I got really excited.
I think what Jess just said, there's something in there that is also a very good advice for site organizers, is to be and to always be approachable on your location. And it is easy to get caught up in organizing little things and bigger things and losing the view of the jammers that are there, and maybe someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I have this little problem," and you're just, "Yeah, let me just first fix up the next pizza order." That's something that comes with. I said it earlier. It's people have to be comfortable. So they also have to be comfortable in talking to you as a site organizer and not feel like, yeah, I'm just annoying this guy who's trying to organize this event. Always have an ear for the whoever is coming to you and asking anything. Just be approachable, and that's a big part in making it comfortable for the people.
Definitely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jess, if I could square, this is probably my second to last time sharing my screen.
That's
I'm
fine.
just
I left it on screen share for you because I wasn't sure
Nice.
at one point you were going to just zip in there.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'm gonna share the doc. So thank you, Michael and like Sebastian, for giving us all your insight. And then is this screen share on? I don't think it's on the screen yet.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. So
Awesome.
yeah. So for the site organizers out there who's about to sign up, this handy dandy manual will be provided to you by Jess and team. I think there is a Slack channel, right, Jess, that
Yes.
site organizers get
Yep.
invited to. Do you want to talk a little bit more about this this manual?
Sure, yeah. So it's a cheat sheet, essentially, what it says right there. It just has a breakdown of any questions, frequently asked questions that you may have about the jam, and how to make sure that you're covering all of your bases, because there might be things that you just didn't even think of, and as well as just the timeline of the events, handling the theme reveal, making sure that you have all of the marketing and anybody who's going to be coming that isn't jamming but is participating.
Diversifiers, very important.
Exactly. And you'll be provided this. And there's also a Slack channel for anybody who is a site organizer. You can ask questions. There's a ton of people in there who have experience. So if you're new to it, and just want to chat with somebody, feel free to reach out to people and just pick their brain, get their advice, as well as your regional organizers. Every site organizer does have a regional organizer, and that is also a contact point for you to answer any questions. They're the people who go through your site with you, approve the process, make sure that everything is ready and good to go at the time of your jam. And they're people who have typically been site organizers for multiple years. So they do have, a best practices and a do's and don'ts. And Also, if you happen to know the person who was the site organizer before you, if you're at a recurring site, if you're a new site organizer taking on a space that has already been a jam site for a while, just talking with the person who did it before and seeing what they thought, what they would do better, what did really work for them. Because it should be a community kind of feeling, and it should be community within the site organizers as well.
Totally. Nice. So I think we're about to wrap up. I'm about to post Sebastian's link to Parking World one more time in chat. So please get on Steam and check out his team's work. Michael, Sebastian, thank you so much. I'm gonna put up my screen one more time. Sorry, I'm always like going in and out of screen share. All right, and then this is just like the final bit, like for me, from Unity. Again, Jess, thank you so much for hosting the three of us in your house, in the streaming house. And like, can't stress enough how excited we are to be working with Global Game Jam this year. Again, this is the QR code if you're a student watching, or site organizers if you do have students and they don't know what to use. Like, if they want to use Unity, this is a QR code for the student plan. You'll get free assets. You'll get free assets. Yeah, thanks, Sebastian. Look at that. Like, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way. I gotta point this way.
I couldn't.
Scan
Is
here.
this the right way?
Yeah,
I
that's
have
the
no
right
idea.
way. Okay. Yeah. So if you're a student, sign up for your student plan and get some free stuff for your jam. And then this as well, if you want to learn how to use Unity before the jam, we're having a learn along and Unity discussion. Sebastian, you got it right. And from the 9th to the 16th, we're just hanging out in Unity discussions, making Rollerball, and then we're doing like our remix of it, and then having everyone post at Unity discussions. So, yeah, that's it for me. And then let me just turn it. Oh man, everyone's seeing my slides.
Oh, no.
Super professional.
Oh.
It's okay. You're good. Don't worry about it. And yeah, I think that's it. Jess, you wanna wrap it up for all of us?
Sure. So again, registration's open. Game Jam kickoff is January 20th to the 26th. That's when we'll have our theme reveal, which is always a big part of this. The thing that people always get the most excited about, because it is the impact on your games as well as the diversifiers, and we'll have a keynote speaker. Also, just as another plug, we do have the week before Global Game Jam, the January 13th to the 17th is prep week, which means that a lot of our sponsors, including Unity, will be hosting recorded content or live streams, webinars that are tools that you can use to make sure that you have a wonderful game jam. And the Unity one we have scheduled is January 16th at, I believe, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I believe that is what the time is, but I have to double check. But
we'll make some announcements. Yeah.
Well, there's going to be tons of announcements. There's going to be a lot of content that week. So just stay tuned to all of our socials. We'll get more information out to you guys, and where to find all of that. Probably going to be on Twitch or StreamYard or something like that. One of these YouTube, I don't know. We haven't decided
all
yet.
the technologies.
All the technology that I'm still getting used to.
And also, one last shout out to the YouTube chat. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
If you're watching, and to the future VODs, everyone wave to the future. To all the, to all the viewers. Thank you.
Future.
Yeah.
Thank you, future.
Yeah. If you want to jump in, comment, tell us where you're coming from, where you're going to organize your site, and then maybe your favorite game jam food. Just leave it in there.
Definitely.
Nice.
Those are the three things that will be on the tag: is your name, location, and food, and nothing else.
Nothing else. And then we all leave after. All right.
I will write that down.
There we go.
See, even Sebastian's learning stuff from this.
All right.
That is a great
Awesome.
idea. Having people that share the same favorite food.
Yeah, that's the entire theme. Yeah.
Or one conference I went to, it's a name, and then you pulled a random Pokemon card from a box, and it's 2 of every Pokemon card. And if you found your pair, you come up to the front desk, and then something happened. That's also a fun game to play. Nice. And then people are like, "What's your Pokemon?" I don't know what that is. There's a big plant on it. Whatever.
You don't know what your Pokemon is?
Some people didn't know what Pokemon are.
Whoa.
Oh, so like you were talking about Bulbasaur and people didn't know what that was.
Yeah,
The green one.
the green one.
The green one, the little dino plant.
I know Bulbasaur.
All right.
I mean, that was always my starter. So.
Aw. Jess,
Aw.
Michael, Sebastian. It's good to see y'all. And then
Good
you
to see you
two.
too. Thank you.
Thank y'all for
Yeah,
coming
thank you
through.
for having us.
We'll
Yeah,
see y'all
thanks.
later.
Bye.
Bye.